Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Analytical Amateurs, the show where a bunch of unprofessionals pretend to be professional. I'm Alcatabra. I am here with Triple M. Say hello.
Hi.
And
Hi.
today we are back to discuss movies. Yay.
Awesome.
I was planning on us discussing Tenet this month because I was pretty sure that it would be like moved to digital
I'm
like
not
by
gonna,
now.
no,
But
I'm
yeah.
not gonna see it.
Yeah,
There's
I
no way for
know.
us to see it, so.
It's not. I value my life over a good movie. No offense, Chris
Although
Nolan.
did you hear about Regal Cinema?
Yes, that is shut right
Yeah,
back down. That is
they're
that is such a
done.
shame. Uh,
What, I mean, it's like AMC and Regal. They're like the two pillars of
yeah.
movie theaters, and it's gone. One of them's gone.
Where does
I
that
mean,
leave us?
I guess it's a statement on their business model. Like
Hmm.
if your business is so poorly managed that they shut down after 1 year of without income. I don't
Hmm.
know. I get it, but I don't get it. I
Hmm.
don't know. I mean,
Um.
AMC's thriving, but that's
Yeah.
probably because people are going to see their movies.
Yeah. I mean, that's the weird thing. Like, I'm surprised. Like right now in theaters, a bunch of old movies are coming back out because obviously nothing new is being made. And I'm surprised that old movies like Hocus Pocus are making more money than Tenet. Like you can see Hocus Pocus in the comfort and safety of your home, and yet you choose to see all these old movies like in
It's on Disney
theaters.
Plus. I
Yeah,
mean,
like
I don't understand.
you'd
Like,
risk going to a theater, in this current climate is to see an old movie as opposed to a new one. Like that's some weird like priorities. But yeah, point being, we are not discussing Tenet. That's the whole point of that little segment. We are instead
yup.
discussing, like maybe it'll get moved to digital. Who knows? Point is, we're discussing two movies today that are very close to our hearts: Tropic Thunder and Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Yeah, these are two
What a title!
very
Oh man,
yeah.
I think we
Gives
should
me
do
a
Tropic Thunder first.
well, yeah, that's the one that came out first, so we're gonna do that one first.
Oh, is
Um,
that how we do that?
I
Okay.
mean, I don't know. I just say what. Yeah, sure. That's what we're doing first. Um, Point is, yeah, we're gonna start discussing Tropic Thunder. I'm sure this movie doesn't even need an introduction. It is It is a. I don't even want to know if I should say cult classic or just classic because it
I
is
think
an
it's a cult
experience.
classic.
Yeah,
I
it's an
think it's a cult
experience.
classic. I have a hard time finding people who've seen this movie.
Mhm.
I love it. I
Of
love it a lot.
course.
I think it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It's got a lot of star power behind it. Fucking Jack Black is great. Uh, Tom Cruise is.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was gonna get to that. That's my first point. That this film has some really good immersion. When it comes to the actors, like I did not recognize Tom Cruise at
Yep.
all. I remember
Nope.
I did a
First time.
legit spit take when I saw his name in
First
the
time I
credits.
saw it.
I was like,
First
no
time I saw it,
way.
somebody had to tell me. They were like, "Yeah, it's Tom Cruise, right?" I'm like, "That fat bald
I was
fuck."
like, no way. I was like, is there some other Tom Cruise I don't know about? That is not Tom Cruise. But yeah, that was something else. That was some really good immersion. I think I completely forgot who Robert Downey Jr. was playing halfway through the movie. Like I was like, oh yeah, that's RDJ. Same goes for everyone else. Like everyone did great in this film, I think, and I think that's important to highlight because it shows that like this is what happens when you get good actors who just act and you're not like focused on like who they are as like popularity wise. Like just get good actors. I mean, and this proved a lot of my stigmas wrong. Like I always had a stigma against like Tom Cruise just being like, oh, he's just the action guy. This movie definitely proved me wrong. And this man knows how to be funny.
I
Same
will
goes with
go
all these other
scorched
actors.
earth on you, motherfucker.
My goodness.
Oh.
So yeah, this movie definitely proved like that a lot of these actors have potential to me, um, which is important for the next movie because then Birdman does cover stuff like this too. But we'll get to that then.
Mhm.
Point being, I think that this film really does have a good, vast array of like Hollywood archetypes to satirize because both of these films, the reason why we picked them is because they're both satirical films of the entertainment industry. This one is more of a comedic satire of it, while the next one's going to be like an artistic character drama. And I think that this one definitely like picks some good like archetypes to satirize. You have the
I think
washed
it's.
up. Mhm.
Well, you go. You go.
Okay. Well, you have like the washed up blockbuster star who's desperate for a comeback, which is Ben Stiller's character, Tug Speedman. Then you got the method actor who forgets ethics and can't like live outside of their role, who is Kirk Lazarus,
You mean Jared
RDJ's
Leto?
character. No, oh no, that's the other one. We're talking about Kirk Lazarus.
Jared Leto?
Oh goodness, Jared Leto would have been perfect for this movie. Oh my goodness, but that's another thing.
Jared Leto probably would have gotten the actual surgery if this were him.
Good lord. And then you have the clown who stars in like mediocre comedies, Jack Black's character, and they're usually a drug addict, which Jack Black's character also is. Then you have the one who's only focused on like marketed and selling products, Al Pacino. The executives who like abuse their power and act like they're above everyone.
Did you just say Al Pacino?
Wasn't that his name?
It's Al Pacino.
Oh, I'm so stupid.
Al Pacino.
I've been calling it Al Pacino this whole time. Al Pacino. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, no. Al Pacino is an old white Italian man, not.
I thought his name was like Alpa, last name Chino, as a reference to Al Pacino.
Nah, it's Alpha Chino.
That makes a lot more sense.
He's the alpha.
Of course.
I don't know. I just love this movie.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then you got the new guy, right?
Yeah, then you've got the new guy who doesn't know what he's doing and is like all in all this.
Hiccup.
Yeah, Hiccup from How to Train a Dragon. Speaking of, and like for these characters, there's also a lot of various jabs at the entertainment industry, like in real life. Like you've got they make that pee joke. Al Pacino makes that pee joke, like peeing on a girl joke. You have bribing each other with like movie deals. Like they're all like, hey, if you help me with this, I'll get you a spot in this film and stuff. You've got like how Tug's, like my favorite joke was when Tug Speedman's agent like thinks he killed a hooker and he's about to like explain in great detail how to cover it up. I'm just like, geez, Lord. Then you've obviously got like Grossman, like his entire character, and how he's like literally ready to just leave Tug for dead just because he wants to make money. So that was interesting stuff. And I think it's good to have like movies like this which aren't afraid to like satirize and like call out things like that in the industry.
I think it's a statement, underneath the amazing comedy of it all. Mm-hmm. I think it's a statement on method actors and method directors and how stupid they are.
Yeah, like what happens when you get too like deep into the role that you like lose reality.
Because you've got the director who's way too into. He's so into the role that he sends them into the jungle.
Into a literal jungle, then gets blown up by a landmine.
And then you have the actors who are so into it that they think what they're seeing is real or is part of a movie.
Especially Ben Stiller's character, definitely.
Yeah, and then you have RDJ, who is so into his character that he literally
did blackface.
Has a surgery and does blackface. And I'm going to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
That's like...
That's what everyone wants to talk about.
And then you have Ben Stiller, and then there's the statement about Ben Stiller, who got so into his Simple Jack character
that it became like a full-on offense. Like, that was something else.
I'll see you tonight in my head movie.
And I like how they call out like all these other actors who have done similar things in the film.
You went full retard. You never go full retard. It's so quotable. It's a quotable movie. Like, one of my favorite quotes is, we're supposed to be a unit. Suck my unit. It's fucking great, man.
Goodness.
I'm looking up. So this is 2008. This was the same year as Iron Man.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Like, imagine like being like you go to like watch Iron Man. It's like, didn't that guy do blackface like a year ago? Like, imagine just going to your mom's like, isn't that the guy who did like blackface in that other movie? That's something else. But yeah.
Every couple of months you get this new wave of people on the internet who discover Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what?
I'm surprised so many people don't know this, considering like his current like fame and everything. I'm like, you guys are just finding this out.
Sell him! And everybody, every time it happens, like every sensible person is like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, go watch the movie and you'll understand. And okay,
yeah,
so
this is like a prime example of like context matters. Like, people.
I was thinking about this today. I'm doing a rewatch of. I just finished a rewatch of The Office, and I'm doing a rewatch of Scrubs. I did them back to back. Both shows have scenes that were cut out. Oh, and Community. I did it back to back to back. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Because because whenever I'm fucking playing video games, I just turn on a TV show in the background. So when I got to college, it was Community, and then I finished, and then I did The Office, and then I'm now watching Scrubs. And then next it'll be Seinfeld. I have like a schedule I stick to. I'm a fucking OCD weirdo. So all three of these shows have scenes that were cut out because there were jokes that involved blackface, but not really.
I know,
like,
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia had one like that, and that one.
The joke is never this character is black. The joke just happens to involve them having black on their face. So I'm watching the Scrubs episode, and the way it works is like JD's fantasizing about what it would be like if his girlfriend was more like his best friend, who was black, and then JD like drifts off and daydreams about his girlfriend with like brown makeup on and like a shaved head. But they just like easily removed it out of the episode, and it doesn't interrupt the pacing at all. And the same with the Office joke, where it's like, you know, it's like a ancient Christmas character who has blackface. You briefly see him like walking into the building and then turning around and leaving, and they cut that out of the episode too. And I guess my point is, these jokes are just that. They're jokes, and they're like deterrent from the episode, and they don't really matter to the overall plot. If you cut RDJ doing blackface out of Tropic Thunder,
you lose the whole movie.
You'd lose a big chunk of that movie. Like, you'd lose a lot of jokes and a lot of the commentary and a lot of jokes.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
I think this like movie as a whole is just a good example of how to do like satire on like why, and like embrace like the thing you're satirizing without going like too far. Because, you know, there are a lot of movies which like satirize or criticize a lot of dramatic things, some even in like recent memory, but then they like go too far. And I think this movie perfectly like rides the line where you're like, this is offensive.
Cuties.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to say it, but if you're gonna say it.
Well, no, because we didn't talk. Did we talk about this last episode? What did we talk about?
Oh, we talked about Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah.
Right. No, Cuties hadn't been a thing yet.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. I mean, Cuties isn't really a satire, but it's still a statement that the director was trying to make. But it's a bad statement.
Yeah, like that's like, an example of like bad execution on your statement.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to show people that pedophilia is bad by being pedophiles. And I'm like, okay, like this just in, Netflix is making a movie and they're gonna show everybody that killing puppies is bad. And how are they gonna do it? They're gonna kill puppies.
Like, that's just the perfect example of like how there's a degree for things, like, you know, like doing like showing like ethics is bad in Hollywood. You can do that without actually hurting someone. But then there's other things you can satirize and it just becomes too harmful. And again, like I said, I think this movie perfectly rides that line. Yeah,
no, it the Cuties line, we'll call it.
Oh boy, let's we're gonna trademark that, the Cuties line.
But I think, you know, everyone has collectively agreed, except for like the teenage girls that discover it every couple of months. Everyone has collectively agreed that we're going to give RDJ a pass for that role just because of, you know, I don't know. I don't think the movie would work without it. And I think that, I don't know. There's something about it, and I can't sum it up. I can't like.
It's just
but
hilarious.
Everybody has agreed. Everybody has agreed that this is okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is the exception, and nobody really knows why. But it's the exception, and there you go.
Yeah, like his character's ego and ignorance just really exemplifies how funny it is. Honestly.
And then there's like other stuff about the movie, and it's just like the funny parts to me. The fake commercials before the movie itself.
Oh yes,
actually,
I really loved that.
They
part.
always get me. And my mom saw it in theater. She told me about this. They didn't show any real commercials. They were just the fake commercials. And the audience was extremely confused. Especially when it was like the gay monk movie. So it was like Kirk Lazarus and Tobey Maguire.
That is so perfect. That is my favorite trailer.
Fun fact, to this day, that's the only role I've seen Tobey Maguire in where he wasn't playing Spider-Man. I haven't seen Great Gatsby. I haven't seen Seabiscuit. It's just Spider-Man and Gay Monk.
Oh my god! I remember I saw someone commenting that if Tobey Maguire does play Uncle Ben in the MCU, we can officially say that Iron Man slept with Uncle Ben. I
Yeah.
want that to be true.
That's probably just true with how they're making Spider-Man anyway, but we're not here to
True.
talk about Spider-Man. Uh,
But
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a really great, fun movie. There's not many problems I have with it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that another good thing that I want to like highlight is just that all the other ways it has like to deliver comedy, like we already mentioned, the trailers are good. I think that how Tug Speedman specifically acts was a great way to, was like really fun and interesting. And I just found out like Ben Stiller also wrote the movie and directed it, which was pretty interesting. And I think he delivers his role well. I really respect when like people can pull that off. You know, like not only directing and writing, but also starring in your project. It's pretty innovative. I do.
Panda.
Yes, his panda.
Killed the panda.
I was so confused. I was like, was that in his head? Because then we see the panda like actually like on his head later on. So I guess there was a real panda. I just thought he was
No, he killed it.
hallucinating.
He killed
I was
that
like,
thing.
God damn. That was a great way to just show how his insanity was going. That was awesome. But my favorite line from him also is just like when he's in his interview, it's like someone close to you said that this could be like the end of your career. What do you say to that? And he just says, somebody said they were close to me. Like it really shows like what his character is all about. Like he's desperate for that attention again after this like blockbuster success. And that's like a good like underlying way to show like all the fame and fortune you'll get from this doesn't really buy you affection. But then he ultimately does find affection when he becomes friends with Kirk Lazarus. And I thought that was a very nice character arc for him. I also like the part where he adopts his son, and then his son tries to kill him. I don't know why. I just found that funny. But yeah.
I adore the part where he just fucking throws the ragdoll. Like that shit makes me laugh so hard when he throws the kid and the kid windmills through the air like he's made of fucking flour or something.
Damn.
Oh, it's so funny.
So funny.
It's such a quotable movie. Like there's quotes just running through my head right now, like Robert Downey Jr. staring into the camera.
Yeah, pretty much
going,
anything Robert Downey Jr. says.
Survive.
She's just a dude
playing.
He's just a dude disguised as a dude playing another dude.
I'm a dude disguised as a dude playing another dude. Or it's the other way around. But yeah, I mean, and fucking when Jack Black is tied to the tree. And he goes, I will suck your dick right now. I will stroke the shaft, cradle the balls, and swallow the gravy. It's so funny.
Oh goodness.
Oh, what a film. I've always like anytime somebody asks me for a comedy, like whenever someone comes to me for a recommendation, they're like, give me something funny to watch. I'm like, you're gonna fucking love Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. Like this is the perfect way to do absurdist comedy, if you ask me. Like I've only ever seen it done this well by like Edgar Wright. Like how you take something so absurd as actors caught in the middle of like a drug gang like warfare, and it somehow just works. Because like in any other hands, this film would be probably really stupid. But like because it's so self-aware, it works. On that note, I think that the comedic tone does have a negative effect when it comes to like the messaging, like, you know, the themes and satire. Like it works in some areas, like Robert Downey Jr.'s, but then some others, like the comedy kind of takes away from like Ben Stiller's arc or Tug Speedman's arc, for example. But even so, I think that I'm just glad that they committed to it, and it definitely is still funny regardless. So you can enjoy this as like a dramatic satire or just a funny, fun film, and I really like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't even know if there's much else to say on it because it's just
that's
good.
What I'm thinking. It's like, well, I'm sitting here like, what else can we talk about? Because Birdman, there's so much to chew on, but with this, it's just like
straightforward. Like it's either you like it or you don't.
Movie.
You know.
Yeah.
And yeah, as we say, recommend this to everyone. There's a nice side documentary they like released. I actually thought it was a real documentary, and then but it was like a purposeful like parody one, and I really respect that. It just shows how far in they went with the joke. Other than that, yeah, we already mentioned the jabs at Hollywood. I already mentioned all that. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say. Just go enjoy this movie. If you like extreme over the top comedy and satire, this is definitely the movie for you. More people need to see it. I'm glad that, because I thought after seeing this movie, I was sure they would like just bank on it and pump out a bunch of sequels and nonsense. But thankfully they did not give in to the stuff they were satirizing like other properties have. So, I'm proud of them for that.
Yeah.
That's about it. I have not seen anything else from Ben Stiller. I do not know. Is anything else he's done good? Really, like I've only ever seen him in the Night at the Museum films when I was a kid, and that's it. That's pretty much it.
Wait. Are you saying you haven't seen anything he's directed?
Yeah.
Or you haven't seen anything with him in it?
Directed.
Oh, okay. I don't. Here, hold on. Let me see. Ben Stiller directed movies. Oh, that's images. I don't need to. He directed Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Ah.
I think he did Zoolander, but
I know he was in Zoolander. They're not. Yeah.
Okay. The first one is alright. The second one is meh.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of the kind of comedy that Zoolander is. Just dumb person is dumb. They do dumb thing. Ha ha ha. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Anyways, that's about it. So yeah, on to the next one. Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, which, again, with that title, reminds me of Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
I don't say this title as an ironic joke.
Yeah.
I say this title because I like the title,
I think that this title is like just a perfect allegory for the film's two halves, because it's presented as like a standard superhero flick. Like people go in expecting this to be Birdman, some weird superhero movie, but then it's also The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Like it's this dramatic, like emotional, poetic story all about like ignorance, which we'll get into.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is this film is so good, but I'm having trouble organizing my thoughts and figuring out what to talk about first.
I mean, I guess we should start with some like general stuff before getting into like all the deep thematic artsy stuff.
I was going to start with the obvious. The cinematography,
of course,
is profound.
Yeah, the quote unquote long take, because I mean, obviously this film was not actually all shot in one shot, but it is designed to look like that.
Like three or four that I noticed, but I'm sure.
Yeah, apparently there's like 12, 15-ish cuts. I will post it on screen if I find the exact number. Maybe even 30. I know there's a bunch, but they like hid them.
I think this film works, this style, and I don't know why it works better, but it works better than 1917, right? 1917's claim to fame is its camera work, and Birdman's claim to fame is not its camera work. It boils down to that. If you take the long take gimmick away from 1917, then all you have is a generic war film. But Birdman, you could still present it. You could present it in a different way, and it would still be a fantastic movie. Yeah,
this is just like a bonus, like icing on the cake, and I think that's
so. Yeah, I think it works better than 1917 because it doesn't rely on it as a crutch.
Like for the because I know a lot of people are questioning how they did all this. Like from a technical angle, obviously there's some obvious cuts, like the fade to black ones are the most obvious, I would say.
When someone walks in front of the camera or something.
Yeah, they also have like quick pans, are a really nice one that have been utilized in a lot of good movies, I think, where the camera just yeeshes across the screen, and I don't know how it works. It's just magic that you can just put two quick pans together and no one will notice. But that's another good one. I think another good one is fast forward, like to show time and stuff. There's only like at the very end they start actually cutting between scenes, I would say, like doing actual cuts, because at that point they were just kind of done, so like why not? But that's impressive that they held this up for so long. And I want to say, like, I think the long take really works for the setting, because this film is set in a theater, the characters are putting on a play, and it's a perfect allegory for
it pretty much never leaves the theater. It has one or two scenes in a bar, one or two scenes on the street.
Yeah.
And then the Times Square scene, which is infamous.
Mm-hmm. Oh well,
but,
yeah. Fun fact about that scene I want to mention is that like most of the people in that scene, pretty much all of them were just real people who had no idea what was going on. They just saw Michael Keaton run down Times Square in his underpants. Like imagine just being in Times Square. Yeah, like they were all just there, like watching some marching band performance, and then they're just like, did Michael Keaton just walk past me in his undies? So like most of the people following him with their phones were real. Like that is whack.
That'd be so great to watch. I mean, just to experience in New York. Like it's one thing to see a celebrity in New York. It's another thing to see him
in
naked,
their underwear, just strolling by, just like, huh.
He was
New
not
York.
running. He was power walking.
Yeah,
like
just like New York, what a town.
But you know what's funny is that scene actually did bother me.
Really?
Because, I mean, the way they set it up is so dumb. I mean, come on, man.
Like
just knock on the fucking door. Like, I kept yelling at him, like, knock on the door! Like, you just established that door is, like, leads into a room with a bunch of people off stage. So just knock on the door! The worst thing that happens is the audience hears a bunch of banging.
Yeah.
So?
He's just like, I'm lazy. I'm gonna stroll through Times Square, get my miles.
Yeah,
in.
I mean, it was a bit contrived. But other than that, I didn't really have any problems with it, per se. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a huge fan of the flying scene.
We'll get to that, because I want to get back to long.
I'm trying to figure out ways to... I wanted to start with the cinematography, and then get into the thing that annoys me most about this film.
Mm-hmm. To wrap up with cinematography, though, I'll just say, like I said, this obviously, since it's set in a theater, the long take shot style helps, because like in theater you got to do everything like one go. So I thought that was a really nice allegory for all of it. But yeah, now we're gonna get to what you were mentioning, the questionable reality. Birdman seemingly has powers. He doesn't actually, but the movie presents it as he does. One of the most infamous scenes being that flight scene you mentioned. But
I wanted to talk about the most basic, annoying thing about when people talk about Birdman. They're like, "Oh, it's an allegory for what Michael Keaton went through."
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Michael Keaton did not hate being Batman.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton did not hate his life after being Batman. Like, Michael Keaton loved his life. He still likes being... For fuck's sake, he's Batman still!
Yeah, he's coming back as Batman.
No, it's like... No, this is not an allegory for what Michael Keaton went through. I think... Like, yes, there are similarities.
Yeah, there's an allegory for what the celebrities like Michael Keaton went through, but not him specifically.
I mean, if you wanted to more correctly compare it to someone, you'd compare it to Harrison Ford or Alec Guinness.
Or Ben Affleck for a more recent, I think. Because, he's Batman.
Poor Ben. Oh, poor Ben Affleck. Oh, man.
This movie was just like 10 years
Birdman
too late.
2.
Yeah, Birdman 2. Starring Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck's story.
Oh, goodness.
But no, it just annoys me. It's like, it's so vanilla. Like, you're not digging into the movie like you should. You're just saying, "Oh, it's Michael Keaton. Okay, cool." And what I think is cool is the film itself is an adaptation of what we talk about when we talk about love.
Yeah, like, it's indirectly that. Like, that's what the play was for. Like, it perfectly, so replicates, like, the journey that Michael Keaton's character, Riggin, is going through. And I thought that was really cool.
It's so meta. Like, it's the movie is a play, and the movie is inside a play, and it's like, what? I love it.
Like, on that note, I think that the acting, like, we'll just get to that. The acting is great all around from, like, everyone, especially, obviously, the two lead characters, Michael Keaton's character, Riggin, and Edward Norton's character, Mike.
Really? Wait. Really? You think that...
Like, his acting or his lead? You don't think his acting's good?
No.
What?
He's great. He's great as the lead. Don't get me wrong. It takes a lot of guts as an actor to not only show your ass in a movie, but then your erect penis. But I don't think he's the second lead. I think that Emma Stone is the lead. I think
true. Like, the whole, like, that's the second part of the whole movie, which we'll get to. Like, Riggin and, what's her name? Sam's relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Sam is like arguably the second main character.
That's
Because
fair.
she is she's the lens that Riggin wishes he could peer through. Like she
Mhm.
sees everything as, as modern and
Yeah.
depressive as Riggin wants to.
Like her speech is the perfect like encapsulation of that, where she just straight up
Oh, that
exposes
speech is
him.
so good. It's such a good monologue.
Mhm.
And every scene she's in is really great.
Mhm.
Like the scene on the rooftop.
Oh, both scenes on the rooftop.
Both
Yeah.
scenes on the rooftop. Yeah, when she's like about to, well, not jump, but
Yeah.
she's sitting there like she's
Just
going to. It's great.
and we'll get back to her with like the ending definitely. But other than that, like I mentioned, the actors are good. Reagan, I really like his journey. Is like just like you said, it's not a direct journey of Michael Keaton, but what actors like Michael Keaton go through with the whole burden of like the blockbuster like establishment. Like you see throughout the movie, people are like, "Hey, you're Birdman. Can we get a picture?" and stuff like that. He's a very fascinating character in general, I think. I really liked his like unstable mentality and his literal persona, like Birdman, that like was talking to him through the film.
Yeah.
Um, I think that really just gives it a unique, interesting feel, and we don't really see like characters like that in films like this. Other than that, I really like how he's obsessed with a comeback and how his like we already mentioned, the play's a clear metaphor. And more importantly, there's Edward Norton's character, Mike, who is all about the method acting. Similar to RDJ, he is a method actor. He doesn't do blackface in the film. Let's clarify that. But yeah, I mean, he was getting
But
tan. He was
he's
getting really
so into
tan in
his
one
character.
scene, so who knows? Maybe he was
Yeah.
preparing blackface. But in all seriousness,
But like
yeah.
he's so into his characters that he can't enjoy the real world anymore.
Yeah.
The only time he can experience any form of sexual arousal is when his
Is
character
in
is supposed to be
his play.
aroused. And I think that there's a statement to be had there, where it's like the only time in the film that he is attracted to someone who isn't on stage with him is to Sam,
mm-hmm.
who is the cynic who sees through all of these lies,
Yeah.
right? And it's just Mike's character is written so well. I mean, all the characters are written fantastically.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that it's really fun. Like you mentioned, the whole he can't get up thing. That was really funny. I think that it's really good to like show like how he's, even though he's flawed, he does have some points. Like he encourages Riggin to just like get into his art, regardless of what like critics think and everything. But at the same time, he still has arrogance. So it shows that not everyone's perfect, but you can still get advice from them.
I love that scene. The first scene he's in, before you realize that he's fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah,
is when he like coaxes Riggin into acting better,
mm-hmm.
for lack of a better term. Like he yells at him and tells him to.
Yeah, and like
he
tricks
just-
you into
he
thinking
gets
he's
him
like
into
the,
it.
Yeah, he's like tricks you into thinking he's the guy you like need for this film. Then it turns out he's too obsessive with his role, and he's just fucks up the whole play because he can't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. He definitely does have talent, like Michael Keaton and his character definitely does have, or not Michael Keaton, Edward Norton and the character definitely have talent that they show, and I can really respect that.
Yeah, although I think they kind of forget. Like the film tries to pretend like Edward Norton didn't just play the Hulk a few years ago.
Yeah,
Because there's that that clever little scene where it's like, oh, get RDJ, get
Jeremy Renner, and it's like, yeah, he's
Jeremy
an
Renner,
Avenger.
RDJ, and Chris Hemsworth, I think. I don't know.
I mean, I like how they obviously. I forgot that I was gonna make a joke at the beginning about how this is the perfect Vulture origin story because there's a lot of tie-ins, obviously, to Marvel. Like you have the RDJ reference, you have Spider-Man appearing, and then of all people, Michael Keaton, who played Birdman, ends up becoming the MCU's Birdman, Vulture. It's all the perfect prequel right there.
Yeah.
all the foreshadowing. And I thought that was funny, But I mean, that's because literally everyone's in Marvel nowadays, so what are you going to do? But other than that, there was a lot of good social commentary spread throughout the film to cover different things. Like I mentioned, the whole, like, embrace your art regardless of what the critics think. You have the whole art versus big blockbusters. Like, I think the perfect, like, scene to encapsulate that was, like, his hallucination on the street, where he imagines, like, what Birdman 4 would be like. and you've got like this giant cyborg bird thing like just roaring through the street, and a bunch of army people shooting it down. And then like Birdman's all like, "This is what the people want, not this boring, depressing, talky BS." And it's like a perfect allegory for the film itself, like because people went in expecting this kind of action film, and then they got this artistic film.
And I think that that's one of the many, many, many layers of ignorance that the title is referencing, because you have, and before I say this, please, everyone out there, I'm not insulting you directly. I'm just saying you have the ignorance of modern audiences who are so, I don't want to say dependent, but so consumed by this, mindless superhero stuff.
Blockbusters, like generic blockbusters.
And we have directors like the guy who directed Birdman, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, and then Martin Scorsese, who is, they're so tired of it. They're so fed up. Because if you're not in that game, it's pretty hard to make any kind of noise.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sake, we have movies like Joker that do the exact bare minimum of what it takes to be called an artistic film, but everybody praises it because it's got a fucking comic book character.
It's got someone they recognize.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of stuff Joker,
if you took out the Joker of it,
just call it Joe.
Another
just call it Joe.
That people thought it was boring. So there's that ignorance, but then there's also the ignorance that Reagan himself is ignorant in the fact that he is approaching Raymond Carver, the brilliant playwright Raymond Carver, not with the baggage of a traditional Broadway actor, but just with the knowledge that if he puts this play on, it will get him. Again. He'll be relevant again. So he's ignorant in the fact that he's abusing the art to make a name for himself, and that's what the theater critic tries to tell him. He's not making art. He's just doing it to be relevant again. And then there's another layer of ignorance where, the reviews are terrible. Like, the play goes horrible until opening night, when Reagan literally shoots his fucking face off, and audiences love it. And I think that's a statement on how audiences kind of just want to see actors torture themselves.
Yeah.
And get so into their roles that's what it takes to be, quote unquote convincing. But I think that's the biggest. That's why people love Jared Leto's Joker. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who did, but those who do, they love him because he was so dedicated to it. He understands it.
This film came out. Wait. Did The Dark Knight come out before this film? Dark Knight came out when?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is 2014.
That's the kind of stuff, because I remember I heard the director talking about like Heath Ledger's Joker and stuff, and how that was one of the things that inspired him. Like, that's an example of when people misconstrue things. Like, the method acting of that gets misconstrued into something like, I literally just forgot his name, even though he just said Jared Leto. I forgot his name for a second. Stuff like that. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing the film was like satirizing. Like, how the audiences have this misperception of what makes something good or bad, if you know like what I mean.
Yeah, and I love the title, The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, because I think that ignorance and the virtue of said ignorance is what allows so many people to enjoy stuff like this, to enjoy the theater and superhero movies. That's the virtue. It's a blessing to be ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah. Right?
And I think like something clever about this movie, because when I was done with it and I saw like reviews, I saw a lot of negative reviews for this. Like, people just saying it absolutely sucked. It was all artsy, fartsy stuff. And I was like, I mean, I respect those opinions, but like, where's the balance for that? So
there it is.
And yeah, and I knew like what it was all about. Yeah, I knew what it was all about. Because like when you see the trailers, I think the trailers perfectly like deceived people. Because you'll notice the trailers for the movie are just called Birdman. They leave out the unexpected virtue of ignorance part. And the way they show it, they show like Michael Keaton being this telepath who's like who has like a giant bird shadow over him. So that's the kind of stuff people went in expecting. Like the big superhero blockbuster. Then the movie like showed them you were ignorant about that, and this is actually an art character study. And I mean, I get it. Some people don't like
even
that.
The director is trying to make a statement there. The only thing that gets butts in seats anymore is fucking explosions in the trailers.
Yeah. Which is what they were like, which is literally what that scene we saw before with the Birdman 4 scene was all about. And that's perfect. I think that's a really good way to like satirize the industry, and not just from like the executive side, but also the audience side. That's what I really like about the underlying layers of this film. Other than that,
it's funny to me that the only thing that took that skeptic critic, like, she was going to give him an awful review until he fucking
literally shot his face
tried
off.
to blow his brains out, and that was all it took for her to give him a glowing review. And I think that there's a statement to be had there. Like, this film is chock full of allegories and messages that it wants the viewer to take in. It's so good. But after watching it, I had to it just took me a minute. Like, there's so much to think about.
Other than that, I'm gonna get back to these more thematic things with the ending. Now there's the other half of the film, which is Riggins' personal life, and I think this is one of the best like personal told stories ever. Because I usually don't care about these family drama stories, but this one really does it well. You'll see like in the movie that Riggins' like life is like he has no time for the real world because he's so obsessed with this play. Even though he's called out multiple times by the people he loves, he keeps disregarding them. Like I noticed, a really good thing about him is how he it's a bad trait, but a really good thing about like how they portray him is that anytime he's in like an important conversation with his family, he always finds a way to shift it to himself. Like it's all like, hey, like you're gonna sell the house? That house is for Sam. Then he's all like, did I tell you about my play? About this time like I met this one actor on like a play and stuff, and then that's why no one wants to talk to him. Like, he's so like consumed like by this celebrity life, which is a problem that a lot of celebrities like face today. That's why it's always the arrogance. Yeah, that's why you're always
arrogance and the ignorance that comes with it.
Like that's why you're always hearing about like a new breakup or scandal in the celebrity field, because like this whole like celebrity famous culture can get to you like that. My favorite line is from his ex-wife, where she says, "You confuse love for admiration," which again is a problem of a lot of like celebrities, especially in acting. And I think that the film really does a good job to focus not on like his love life, because Riggins like ruined that so much that he doesn't end up getting back with like his ex-wife. Instead, he focuses on fixing his relationship with Sam, which I think was a really good thing to focus on. And like you can see that their relationship is obviously stunted by the generation gap. Like Riggins still focused on the old school, like what will get me attention through like the old like critics and stuff, while Sam is all about Twitter, Facebook, and all that stuff. Once again exemplified by her great speech. And in the end, they thankfully do find peace. I really like how they both become like they find peace through being cynics, which I just thought was fun. Like you think they just become like all lovey-dovey, huggy, but instead like Sam will bring him like roses, and he's all like, "I can't smell them." Then they just laugh over that. That was great. That was a great way to bring them together, both through their
Something funny about that scene is the surgical mask he was wearing looks like I mean, it's a metaphorical mask as well. Like he takes it off and he's finally become who he wanted to become at the end of the film. I don't know. I like that.
Other than that, I want to get into some other like satirical things I think that the film covers well. Is that you have like the idea of critics, like the character Tabitha Dickinson, or as Edward Norton describes her, someone old lady who looks like she just licked a man's asshole.
Fuck yeah.
I like how her role plays into all of this, because she's portrayed as both like a positive and negative character. Like she exposes Riggins' like ignorance, being like this elitist actor, but at the same time, like she's exposed for being all about like just wanting to label things and like judging everything based on her own preordained bias. Like she's all like, "I'm gonna destroy your play even though I haven't seen it," just because she hates what he stands for. And my favorite line from Mike about that is where Mike says like, "A man becomes a critic when he cannot become an artist, the same way that a man becomes an informer when he cannot become a soldier." So they imply like the critics are all just jealous and everything. And that's a great like way to address like criticism in general. Like the idea that you like criticism in general is good. You should be able to criticize things. But the idea of people living to critique is kind of like a negative toxic stigma. Like you shouldn't have to have critics like direct how your art is done. Instead, the film encourages artists to just do what they want without being worried. They like the idea that this one lady can like control all of Broadway isn't really a positive one, and I like that the film isn't afraid to judge that. Other than that, there's some other minor things that they dive into, like the whole different values of like art mediums. Like obviously you have Riggin coming from film going into theater, and there's different values in how that's approached. And yeah, I mean, anything else you want to mainly discuss on that?
Before we get to the ending, no. I think that we really summed it up, and I think it's hard to sum up. I think there's a lot to think about in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. I realized recently, I know like Edward Norton has a lot of trouble. Like there's a lot of reports that Edward Norton can be kind of troubling on set to like work with. So it was interesting that you had him playing Mike, who's the exact same thing. That's kind of interesting, I think. But other than that, some other things I want to talk about. The music of the movie was interesting, kind of iffy for me. Not like music I'd go out of my way to listen to.
Dude, I loved it. What are you talking about?
I like it worked for the movie. That's what I'll say. It worked for the movie.
No, you don't have to like. You don't have to change your opinion because I have a different one. I just fucking the drum set that perfectly encapsulated.
Love the jazz drums. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I liked that the drum set always perfectly encapsulated the rhythm of the scene, and the only time that there was any form of orchestra
was during the dream sequences.
Was during the play.
And
the play or the dream sequences, yeah.
I did like the music cues, like when Riggin is in his dream sequence and he's all like in music, then it just turns on operatic music and he just goes soaring. That was funny. Other than that, I guess we'll talk about the ending. The interesting ending. Basically, Riggin, quote unquote, jumps out a window. Sam comes to the window looking for him, looks up and smiles, and we are left to that. So the director himself has said that you can interpret the ending how you want. There's no set way to interpret it. So I guess we'll just go over how we interpret it. For me, I interpret it that it means that Riggin has become free from the pressure of Hollywood, of critics, of everything. Like he's just free now. He understands the importance of family and everything. That's how I interpret it.
And because before he goes to the window, he takes one last look at the Birdman persona.
Yeah, and he's like, goodbye.
He leaves it. He leaves it in the bathroom, and he's like, he's finally free of it. And I think that the more we try to analyze the ending, the more we ruin the simplicity and the beauty of it. But I do believe that Sam's smiling is her. She's finally seeing things through his eyes.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Like, she's finally understanding him and, like, his fantasy to fly and be free. Is he dead? I mean, he went out a window, so... but, you know.
Yeah, but was that real? Or was that, like, the dream sequence?
Some people are
we
saying
don't
that,
know.
Yeah, there's, like, theories that he died on stage, and the whole, like, fame aftermath is in his head. Who knows?
Nah, I doubt that.
Point is, hell, there's some people who think that the whole movie was a dream and he was dead to begin with. But, you know, that's just theories.
Whatever. This is...
That's just theories for you. Point is, the ending is up to you, I think. And I like that. I like when
and that's what makes it so special to me.
Other than that, I have some fun facts, I guess. The original ending of the film apparently would have involved Johnny Depp. Apparently, like, after
I saw that.
Yeah, it would have cut to Johnny Depp, how did we end up here? Because of the role of Jack Sparrow, so it's just an endless loop of blockbuster stress.
And it's like a talking Jack Sparrow poster.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
The director said he changed that because it wasn't as powerful. I think that this new ending really does encompass the whole family theme, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's about it. You know, great acting, great cinematography, a whole layer of themes to deconstruct. This film is definitely a must for anyone who really loves stuff like that, I'd say.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's just a real pleasure to watch.
I mean, if you're into the blockbusters, the action blockbusters instead, that's fine. Maybe this movie's not for you, but still, I'd recommend giving it a watch anyways. And at the end of the day, the lesson of all of this, of these films, is that it's just a deconstruction of the entertainment industry, as I mentioned before. Like, remember, these people, these celebrities, they're still people. They still have flaws. They still have baggage, whether that be baggage over ethics, baggage over family problems, baggage over attention, whatnot. Like, at the end of the day, these movies show us that attention doesn't ultimately matter. What matters is what you and the people close to you think. As cheesy as that sounds. Like, be close to people. Don't let yourself be lost in fame, in fantasy, and yeah, that's about it. Be close, make friends, stop racism, yay, whatever.
Yeah.
And those were Birdman and Tropic Thunder and Birdman, however you like it. Yeah, there's not much else to say because these are just interesting movies. I will say, now in the aftermath, first of all, recommendations. We always do film recommendations, so Triple M, do you have a film recommendation?
No, fuck you. I have TV recommendations.
Shit. Okay.
One TV and one just kind of statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would like everyone to go out and find a way to watch The Boys,
Mm-hmm.
which is a fantastic series. Season 2 just finished.
Mm-hmm.
It is a great series, a great statement on the superhero media. A great statement. Season 2 is a great allegory for America as a whole right now. And even if you don't like the politics of it, you should watch it because it's still a hell of a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a fun show. And then the second thing, speaking of Amazon, because Amazon produces The Boys as well, but Amazon just released the trailer for their animated series based on my favorite comic book ever, Invincible.
Invincible? Ooh.
It looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's got an all-star cast. It's got Steven Yeun as Mark Grayson or Invincible, and it's got my man J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man.
That sounds nice.
The animation looks great. Sadly, season 1 is only covering up to issue 13.
Oh.
So not much happens, but there's a really great, plot twist in like issue 12 that I think will be fun to watch.
I heard Mark Hamill's in the show.
Oh yeah, he plays Art the Tailor, the superhero tailor. I'm trying to think of other people, but no one that you'd be able to recognize just purely by name.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the trailer looks great, and it has me really hyped, and I cannot wait till the show comes out. So my recommendations are watch The Boys and keep an eye on Invincible, the series.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, my recommendation would have to be a movie called Heathers. It is an old, it's a romantic thriller, if that makes sense. It's an old movie, a satirical romantic thriller about, there's a musical of it for you musical people now that a lot of people like. Basically, you have this average high school girl who's a part of a popular group. She meets an edgy boy who ends up taking her down a darker path, and she has to decide whether or not he's good enough for her and stuff. And it's just hilarious and dark at the same time. I don't really know how to describe it. It's something you should experience for yourself. If you like funny, satirical drama humor, if you like jabs at old school 80s and stuff, you have like funny hilarious lines like I love my dead gay son, which will make sense if you see the movie. It is an interesting satirical piece on old school America and their approach to like teenage life and teenagers in general. There's a reboot of it, which was... I'm gonna make a review on it probably, so I will not discuss my opinions on that reboot here. I'm probably gonna do a review on it someday. But yeah, point is, I'd recommend you watch that movie. It's mostly known for the musical, but I don't think a lot of people have seen the movie in a while. Yeah, so if you like dark humor, definitely watch it. And yeah,
nice.
Other than that, I guess like now we'll see what the future leads for us. I was really banking that movie or better movies would be on digital by now. I don't know what's going on with Netflix. Maybe if we want to cover that orange that shall not be named, then maybe. I don't know. I don't think I can bring myself to watch that. So maybe not.
Watch what?
The orange that shall not be named. Wink, wink.
What are we talking about? What?
Cuties oranges. I was talking about the Cuties
Oh,
movie.
I was about to say, are you talking about our fucking... I was like, are you talking about our president? What the fuck are you talking about?
No, not the president. I'm talking about Cuties, the oranges. But no, if we want to cover that movie, I don't know. I don't know if I can bring myself to watch that. That's a whole other can of worms right there.
Yeah.
But who knows? If no movies are, like, big movies are coming out in theaters or on digital by next month, maybe we'll just do more indie films. I have some lined up. Yeah. Maybe we'll cover Star Wars in December, if anyone still cares about that. No? Okay. just had to check. Just want to know how he still felt on that. But yeah.
All right. Well,
that wraps it up.
I guess if that's all we have, then I am signing off.
Goodbye, everyone.